directly. So if I can think into those three things, how am I creating something that serves? How am I creating something that connects to the greater good? And how am I creating something that sets people up for success? Then I can know I'm creating things that matter. And when I'm creating things that matter, that helps me to understand I'm making a difference more than just a dollar, and I'm really being that masterpiece in the marketplace. So sometimes you just have to ask yourself a question at the end of the day. If my business disappeared tomorrow, what would the world lose? If my business disappeared tomorrow, what would the world lose? And know what it is that you provide and that the world would be losing if you didn't do what you do. So the first component of being a masterpiece in the marketplace is create something that matters or create things that matter. The second one is do really good work. Do really good work. Ephesians 2:10 said to do the good works, not just works, but good works. So I think this is about we need to do really good work. And I found there are four things that help me to do really good work. First of all, number one is a work that is aligned with my design. Work that is aligned with how I'm really wired, how I'm really designed, what my real gifts are, what my real abilities are, what the innate strengths that God has given me. So if I can align my work, my business, and what I do with who I am and who I'm created to be, then I can do work that is really good. We've all been given abilities to do certain things well. When we lean into those things that we do well, then we lean into really good work. The second thing about doing really good work is that I need to operate with character. I need to operate with character. I need to have character that comes forth in my business practices. It comes forth in my customer service. It comes forth in the way I interact with people. And it even comes forth with the way I interact with my competitors. That I do things with this integrity. I do it with dignity. I keep my word. I follow through. All of those things are part of operating with character. I think the third thing, dimension of doing really good work is you execute with excellence. Execute with excellence. Now, as a person of faith, I believe everything I do reflects the awe of God in the earth. And so I need to do stuff with excellence because I'm reflecting more than just who I am. I'm trying to reflect something much bigger, a light that is much, much brighter. And I'm trying to be salt and light in the earth. And to be salt and light in the earth means I need to do things with excellence. So I not only want to align with my design and operate with character, but I want to execute with excellence. And the fourth thing is I put people first. I put people first. I think doing really good work is making sure that people are first, that I think of how things affect people, not just affect profits. And matter of fact, I choose people over profits at the end of the day. And so that means I need to genuinely care about those that I employ and give an opportunity and make their difference. Are they being able to make a difference? Does their purpose connect to the purpose of the company? Does their work align with their design? All of those different things. I have to think about it when it comes to the customer. What's the customer outcome? What's the outcome I want for my customer? Does my employees feel like a whole person when I talk to them? Do they feel like a human being or just a human doing? I just talk to them about what they do, not who they are. And then I need to think about, how is my business helping people in my community? Am I thinking about people in my community at the end of the day that it strengthens my community, it strengthens relationships? So, for instance, as a business owner, it's certainly good to do training on customer service, but what if I also did training on communication and relationships? Something that people could use at work, but they could take home also and use to have a better family. Something that they could take into the community and use for better relationships. So when I'm thinking about being a masterpiece in the marketplace, I'm thinking about that what I do, how could it always impact people? And that's the first thing that really, I want to always think about. And then the third thing that goes with being a masterpiece in the marketplace is you have to have a vision that knows where you're landing. You have to have a vision that knows where you're landing. And what do I mean by that? One of the great stories that I love from nature is the story of the gazelle. The gazelle is an amazing animal. It's not a very big animal and it's not a fast animal, but it can outrun a cheetah. It can outrun lions. It can outrun every predator that comes against it. And it is not that it can run fast, it's the ability of the gazelle. It can jump 10 feet high and 30 feet in a distance with one jump. One jump, 30 feet. And so it uses its jumping and distance ability to outdo the speed of its predator. And but here's the other interesting thing about a cheetah is you can go to a zoo anywhere around the world and you can find cheetahs. Well, if cheetahs can jump 10 feet high and 30 feet distant, how do they keep them in a zoo without huge walls and nets and fences? Well, here's the secret. A gazelle will only jump if it knows where it can land. A gazelle has to see where it's going to land before it'll jump. So it sees a spot 30 feet out and then it'll make the jump. But if it can't see where it lands, it won't jump. So what they do is they build 3-foot walls in zoos, and the gazelles are not 3 foot tall, so their eyes can't see over the wall. And so the gazelle won't jump over the wall because it can't see where it lands. I think there's a principle in that for us with our vision. That many times our vision is we start out saying, okay, what are we going to do? What are we going to produce? How are we going to start our business? How are we going to grow? How are we going to climb the success ladder? How are we going to expand our reach? But the thing that we don't think into is where are we going to land? Where really, at the end of all of this, are we going to land? What is the difference that we're really going to make? And I think we need to be thinking into 4 different things. We could call these our vision landers that you need to think in as a kingdom entrepreneur, as a masterpiece in the marketplace. First of all, number one, I've got to live with purpose. I've got to live with purpose. So I have to ask myself, where are my intentions and ambitions and my heart landing in all of this? What is my real ambition? What is my real intention at the end of the day? And think about, where is all of this landing when it comes to ambition, when it comes to intentions? I think the second thing is I have to labor with a plan. So when I think about the landing that I'm going to have, I have to labor with a plan, and I have to know in the end my actions and my strategies, and are my actions and strategies really lined up with who I really want to be at the end of the day? What I really want to model at the end of the day. So in my plan and my strategy of execution, I need to work, I need to labor, but I need to ask myself at the end of the day, where is that all taking me? The third one is I have to lead for impact. I have to lead for impact. Where do I want my influence to land? Where do I want my impact to land? At the end of the day, what is the real positive impact? What is the influence I want to make on others? It's not just about the product or the service. It's about making a difference. And I have to get a clear picture where that difference is and what that difference looks like. And then the fourth one is leave a legacy, right? That's really what this podcast and this, live stream's all about. I've got to leave a legacy. Where is my life and work going to land at the end of the day? At the end of the day, can it continue or will it just be gone? Will the impact be lasting? Will there be something there for future generations? What values and principles did we pass on? So a person may work for me and move to another job, but when they move to the other job, what did they take with them? Did they take some principles, some values? Did it make a difference in their life? So my challenge to you is get your gazelle on. Get your gazelle on. Really, as a kingdom entrepreneur, get a clear picture of not just where you're starting, where you're landing, and what does it look like where you're going to land. So being a masterpiece